how are we going to get that hood back up that hill again? And that is how Old Blue came to be separated from her hood. It stayed out there in that very spot we left it after sliding down the hill. The snow melted, the grass grew. Over a couple of years, flowers popped up and bloomed in it. Then one day, it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, I guess they finally hauled away that old piece of junk hood away for good.
Dad said the state must have finally come around and picked it up. But my hope is that some teenager somewhere saw in that old hood what we did, and that it's getting a new life with a bunch of kids who haven't forgotten how it is to have fun.
If you ask me, children will always find a way to have fun with something lying around. My granddaughter and my daughter herself have taught me that. They've taught me how to recycle. And they've done a pretty good job of that. I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, my granddaughter had a birthday. She got tons and tons of toys at her birthday party. So many toys that all those children could have played with those toys. Well, her mother and I left to get ice cream and cake. When we came back, every one of those children were in a big box. Now this was the big box that the kitchen set came in. Now, they weren't playing with the kitchen set, oh no, instead they were playing in that box and they were pretending they were in a spaceship and it was on its way to Mars. And they were having a great old time.
Mom, I can't believe it. If I'd have known that, I would have just gone down to Lowe's and gotten a big old box for her birthday. The kitchen set cost almost as much as my new range.
Kids are great at recycling, but my mother was a recycler. I'm talking about some of the earliest recycling, which we used to call leftovers. My mother could recycle a turkey or a chicken 14 times before she was done with it. It would start out roasted. What we didn't finish that night, she would cut off the bone and make turkey and rice, turkey and dumplings, turkey salad sandwiches, and turkey pot pie. She would save the bones and boil them to make turkey soup. Use the leftover turkey soup to make turkey casserole. Don't even get me started on how many lives her meatloaf had.
I like that kind of recycle.
I've got a huge garden. I mean a huge garden. And I thought that I was producing good stuff until I went to the farmer's market. And I had to ask those farmers how they got their vegetables to grow so large and beautiful. And they said, the secret is good composting. So I asked them where I could buy good compost. They laughed at me and said, the best is the kind you make yourself. The people at the farmer's market and the Boone Street market are so helpful. I decided to do what they said and start my own. And they gave me careful instructions to recycle in my kitchen.
Now, you want to start on bare soil. This lets the worms and the other critters aerate the soil that you will transport to the beds that you use the compost in. Then you want to lay down some straw a few inches deep for drainage. Now you can add your composting material. You want to alternate wet and dry, wet and dry. Wet, now this will be food, peels. You can use old tea bags and things like that. Dry ingredients are the things like straw, dried leaves, and wood ash. Be careful though with the wood ash. You want to sprinkle that on and not put it out in clumps because it's harder to break down. Then add some manure or any nitrogen source. This could be things like grass clippings, clover, or wheatgrass. The nitrogen ingredients activates it. It's good to keep a cover over it to keep it moist and also to keep it from being overwatered if you have a lot of rain. Then just go out every few weeks or so and turn it over.
That sounded like something I could do. So these days, I keep a bucket with a lid under my sink. And all that stuff I used to throw in the garbage, which ended up in the landfill, is now going to make the best, darkest compost you could imagine. I'm talking about the tops of vegetables I cut up, onion peels, potato peels. I would make sure it's all vegetable. You don't want to put meat or fish leftovers in the compost. Just give those to Pam's mom. She'll know what to do with them.
My father has a garden. We helped him make compost.
Your father's garden is incredible. Your mother makes the most delicious meals with the vegetables you grow. I've had her zucchini parmesan and it is amazing.
My dad grew the vegetables and my mom cooks them. I'm so lucky. I just get to eat them.
I recycle clothing. I love to sew, and I take old clothes that have some meaning to them, and I turn them into quilts. When my friend's father died, she had all these ties he used to wear. She didn't know what to do with them. Some were really old. She just couldn't bring herself to get rid of them. I said, give them to me. It took me a few months, but I made a quilt. It was the prettiest quilt you've seen, using his ties. She keeps it on her bed. She'll pass it down to her child.
What a beautiful idea. There are so many ways to make new use out of old material and make them into meaningful new things. We talked with Jeff Thomas, Director of Solid Waste for Jonesborough, who is also very involved with Keep Jonesborough Beautiful and the recycling efforts in town. Now, this is someone who really is dedicated to making a difference in our community through reuse and recycling. Jeff, I bet you've seen some pretty strange things in the recycling bins around town.
Well, nothing too strange, but the coolest in my opinion were a bunch of plastic animal toys, like those little horses, soldiers, and dinosaurs that kids play with. I guess a little boy thought those were the kinds of plastic that we recycled. He wanted to do the right thing, so he put them in the recycling bin. Of course, I took them away. I didn't want to disappoint him. We want to encourage our young people to think like that, and later, once they understand and get a little older, we can teach them the difference between things we can recycle and things we can't. I just feel like if at that age they are already thinking about it, I don't want to do anything to discourage them.
That brings up a good point. I think most of the adults in our community know we have a great recycling program here. But what would you like the community to know about your efforts?
The message I'm trying to convey to everyone is that recycling is good for our environment, today, tomorrow, and in the future. Every ounce, pound, or ton of recycling we keep out of the landfills means less harmful chemicals and greenhouse gases that are released as a result.
And that is so important.
And that is one of the things that led me to be involved with Keep Jonesborough Beautiful,
which is a completely different program than the recycling program here in town. And well, we've got some members from Keep Jonesborough Beautiful to tell us all about it.
Keep Jonesborough Beautiful is a nonprofit organization that is an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful and also Keep Tennessee Beautiful. These organizations have been inspiring communities throughout the United States, abroad, and help to keep communities beautiful. As a result of a better, cleaner community, our town achieves sustainable, tangible results and proven impacts. Education is a big part of our program, and one thing that we like to do is to go into schools and present programs on recycling. We love to inspire and educate the children about the importance of recycling. When we go to the grocery store and a little boy or a little girl remembers us coming to their school and giving them a presentation about recycling.
Mr. Jeff, the recycling man.
That's what's so cool. I know that I'm making a difference in their lives. I may not remember them, but they remember me, and that's the message and most enjoyable part of my job. And I would ask them, are you recycling at home?
Yes, sir.
And I would say, good job, and we would give each other a high five. That's the best part of my job, knowing that I'm making a difference not only now, but for the future. Because the child who is recycling his plastic toys when he no longer plays with them, a little girl picks up water bottles around her playground, and the kids who give me high fives in the grocery store, those are the ones who go home and educate their families.
Don't worry, Mr. Jeff. I'm making sure my mom and dad are doing their part to recycle.
And that's where the real difference is being made. That's the best part of my job.
And so very rewarding. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing your story with us to tell us all about this program. I remember that sound. We haven't heard it for a few episodes, but it sounds like we've got a brand new installment of Throw Me a Line. Yes, Throw Me a Line. The time in our show when our cast shares their deep wisdom and thoughts. And to go with our theme tonight, we've made new 21st century definitions out of some words whose, well, Webster's roots we thought could use some updating.
This one is especially true today, coming off of a holiday. The word is adult. An adult is a person who has stopped growing at both ends and is now growing in the middle.
Beauty parlor, a place where women curl up and die.
A cannibal, someone who's fed up with people.
Chicken, the only animals you eat before they're born and after they're dead.
The committee. Well, that's the body that keeps the minutes but wastes the hours.
Dust. That would be mud with the juice squeezed out of it.
Raisin, a grape that missed the chance to become wine, which is why it looks so shriveled and sad.
Mosquito, an insect that makes you like flies better.
Egotist, that is someone who is usually knee-deep in conversation.
Inflation, that's cutting money in half without damaging the paper.
Handkerchief, I got this. A handkerchief is something for cold storage.
Tomorrow, one of the greatest labor-saving devices of today.
Hey, wait a minute. That's a true definition. I've used it myself.
If you are just turning in, you're listening to A Night with the Jonesborough Yarn Exchange on WETS 89.5 FM.
And we're back. And we promised we'd bring them back on stage, so help me welcome one more time Freddie Vanderford and Brandon Turner, the Legacy Duo.
Oh, sweet mama, your daddy kingdom must come down. Satan, your kingdom must come down. This is what we did at the State House in South Carolina. I'm a man come from New Orleans, crazy about them greasy greens. I don't get them 3 times a day. I get mad and I walk away, but now sure was good. Eat them all of them. Soft needed, good and greasy. I love them. Talk about it. Way down south, where I was born, raised good greens and corn. Sweet potato, black-eyed peas, green tomatoes, man, pecan tree. But sure was good, eat them all. Soft needed, good and greasy. I love them. Talk about it. See some greens on your shelf, must be saving them for somebody else. Quick to eat them, baby, I be gone. And I don't know that we slipped them on, but now show up, eat them all. Soft needed, good and greasy. I love them. Talk about it. guess that meat must be fat. Cooked greens so greasy like that. Can't use no natural beef. Sure enough, cook some good greens in town. Sure good. Eat them all. Soft and meaty, good and greasy. I love them. Talk about the
One more time for the legacy jewel. You guys, Buffalo, South Carolina is not that far away, so you come on back soon. Okay, we love you. Thank you.
Lori, we've got a special story tonight that starts with one of the leaders over at the youth villages in Johnson City. We talked with Leanne Blitch about what it's like to work with a foster care service, which brings new life into homes across the region and across the state. We were really interested in how she got involved in foster care in the first place.
Well, when I was in college, I did an internship at a juvenile detention center. I really enjoyed the kids and cared a lot about them. But it made me wonder, how could this have been prevented? I didn't know the complete answer, of course, but I knew the biggest factors. 2 words: education and parenting. Well, after college, I joined a nonprofit called Teach for America, and I taught 7th grade for 3 years in a low-income community, working with at-risk kids. That's the experience that led to what I'm doing today, recruiting and training foster parents.
What is the foster care story you have dealt with? And when you think about it, that makes you feel like you were grateful, you never gave up trying.
Well, Tom, anytime a child gets placed in a home where I know they will be safe and loved, well, it's then that I feel grateful I do this work. You know, lots of people can offer safety to a child, but not everybody can offer love in a true home. So I make it a point to look for parents who will genuinely love and care for a child. I remember there was a girl who had moved from home to home at least 4 times in a short period. The foster parents in those homes had passed her along to one family after another, all for different reasons. Well, there was a lady who was going through my training classes to become a foster parent. And as soon as I met her, I knew she was the perfect mom for this girl. There were other families who wanted to foster her, but I was determined to do my absolute best to make sure this foster mom was chosen. And it worked out. This foster mom loves this girl as her own. Because she is truly loved and cared for, the child is recovering from so many hurts of the past, and she's now in the process of being adopted. I am extra grateful that this special mom believes in education and has the faith and perseverance that truly makes a foster parent extraordinary.
What would you like people to know about the children in youth villages?
Well, our children need love. They need strong, persistent parents who are willing to go the extra mile for them, to advocate for them, to treat them as a valuable person. Many children who have been in foster care have suffered trauma, as they have been through something that required them to be taken away from their home. Well, it's hard on them. Many of them are teenagers. Many of them have been abused, and many of them require special attention. No child is a lost cause. Every child can be helped and given a good home and love.
I imagine you've seen a lot in your work. Tell me, what breaks your heart?
It breaks my heart when I see someone who was raised without a stable home or wasn't given a fair shot in life. Maybe they're older and no one wanted them. Maybe they had some aggression issues that no one had the patience to deal with. Maybe they had a safe place to sleep but didn't have any nurturing or good role models to follow. As they get older, they lack a family. They lack resources, good decision-making skills, life skills, and education. So they take a path that can often lead to crime, homelessness, negative peer association, and poverty. Often the cycle repeats itself. Chances are, this could have all been prevented given a different upbringing. That's why I'm so dedicated to what I do.
There are so many children out there who just want to be loved. They just want to have a loving home to grow up in. Some of them have already done a lot of growing up, no matter their age, because of their circumstances. You know, I think I probably know the answer to this, but who do you think are the hardest young people to place?
Often older children are harder to place. People have misconceptions about what it's like to parent an older child. For example, in my job as a recruiter, I hear a lot of people say things like, older kids have too much damage. Older kids are more violent. Older kids have more issues. But older children are more independent. They understand the transitioning that's happening to them. And they are often so much more grateful for a loving home because they know where they've been. And the teenage years are critical because they only have a short time to get a family. They only have a short time to learn life skills. A foster parent can give that to a teenager. It is never too late to be loved. And it is never too late to learn to love someone.
So, I guess you could say I'm a used kid. That's what one of my foster parents said about me. They were joking. I laughed, even though it wasn't funny. Not to me, anyway. But I didn't want to do anything to make them not like me. It didn't work out, anyway. I was 8 then. I thought I was still young enough for someone to want me. But my foster family found out they were having a baby of their own. They worried there wouldn't be enough money to take care of all of us. Since I wasn't their own, I got placed somewhere else.
You're a sweet, sweet girl. I know you understand. We want to make sure you're with a family who can support you. But you know, you can always come and visit us.
Why would I want to visit people who don't love me?
We do love you.
Just not enough to keep me. Yes, I understand. I should have kept my mouth shut. My foster parents told my caseworker what I said, and then I was marked down as verbally aggressive. And I got put in another category. We're categorized, you know? All of us foster kids in the system. When people shop for us, they want a young child who doesn't have any problems. But I look at it this way. If I need a home because my parents can't take care of me, I come with a big problem. Another problem none of us can avoid is that while we wait for our forever families, we don't stay 8 years old.